$10,000 a month is exactly $333.33 a day. Most students trade 8 hours of their life at a campus bookstore or a coffee shop to earn $120 before taxes. This is a mathematical impossibility for wealth because it ignores the fundamental law of leverage. To hit the $10,000 mark while attending lectures, you must start selling systems. The money you can touch exists in 4 specific quadrants. Each one has a physics engine controlling how fast cash appears and how far it can scale. Memorizing these 4 spaces is the single highest leverage move a broke student can make. Let's start with the one that feels most natural: in-person services. This is the quadrant of immediate gratification. You trade physical presence for physical cash. Personal training, dog walking, barbering in your dorm bathroom, detailing cars. The brutal advantage here is speed. You start Tuesday morning with $0, print flyers Tuesday afternoon, have $300 in your pocket by Saturday night. Raw. Instant, no algorithms needed. The ugly physics? This quadrant is a jail cell. You're locked into a radius of 15 square miles and your own skeleton. You only have 24 hours in a day and 1 body to sell. The money stops the moment you stop moving. This quadrant will never pay you while you sleep. Now rotate your attention 90 degrees. Local products. This feels more seductive because you're creating something tangible. Baked goods that fill a kitchen with cinnamon. Artwork you sign in the corner. Hand-stitched wallets. The passion trap yawns wide here. You start believing your banana bread is a business plan. But the physics of atoms are punishing. Materials cost cash up front. You sink $200 into supplies before you see a dime. Then you're stuck selling to a radius of people who know you or your mom. Farmers markets, Instagram DMs that trail off after the price is mentioned. The fatal bottleneck. Production time scales linearly. You have to bake every loaf. You have to sew every stitch. High heart, low oxygen. But now slide into the 3rd quadrant. Global products. This is where the scale explodes. Dropshipping, sneaker flipping that sell while you're asleep in a lecture hall. You're no longer handcuffed to a zip code. A customer in Berlin buys a mug you designed. You never touch the mug. You never ship the mug. Pure digital leverage. But the dark side waits in your bank account. Profit margins get cannibalized. Typical product nets 20 to 30%. You make $1,000 in revenue, celebrate like a champion, then realize $750 vanishes to cost of goods, ads, shipping, and platform fees. So you have to constantly reinvest the remaining 25 cents on the dollar just to keep the engine from stalling. Cash rich, profit poor. Many students spinning in this quadrant mistake motion for growth. That brings us to the 4th quadrant, the one that breaks the laws of physics holding the other 3 captive. Online services, copywriting, video editing, social media management for overloaded business owners. This quadrant weds the speed of in-person services to the massive scale of global products. Here's the mechanical truth that should make you angry you didn't start yesterday. Profit margins sit between 70 and 80%. Not a typo. For every $1,000 you bill, your actual costs hover around $200 to $300. The rest is profit. Straight into your pocket. No inventory rotting in a garage. No cap on your geographic reach. A laptop in a coffee shop becomes a revenue engine accessible by any company with a Wi-Fi password. But a devastating trap awaits inside this gold mine. Most students enter the online service quadrant and immediately self-destruct. You see, they march onto Fiverr or Upwork and start screaming into the void, "I will edit your TikTok for $15. I will write your blog post for $20. That's the commoditization graveyard. You're indistinguishable from 1,000 other gig workers holding a sign in a digital flood. The escape velocity requires you to stop selling tasks. You must sell outcomes. You must climb a skill pyramid with 4 distinct levels. Here's level 1. Positioning. You do not solve problems for individuals who have $100 to spare. Your target is a business already generating $50,000 a month in revenue. That's the specific threshold where pain becomes a blank check. A business doing 50 grand a month is bleeding money on 4 specific severed arteries. They need more customers. They need better systems so they don't collapse. They need to stand out from competitors copying their every move, and they desperately need to convert existing leads into sales. If your service fails to stitch one of those 4 wounds, you are a cost. Unwanted. Ignored. If your service directly plugs the leak, you are a revolver. Indispensable. Level 2 on the pyramid separates minnows from sharks. Leverage. Your peers charge by the hour. That's a rookie suicide pact. You sell a ceiling on your income every time you clock in. Instead, you quantify the return on investment for the client. A real estate firm doesn't care about your hours. They care that a video you edited brought in 14 qualified leads. If those leads close into $28,000 in commissions, a $2,500 project fee isn't an expense. It's a bargain. Anchor your price to the economic outcome, not the sweat dripping from your forehead, but even a perfect pitch fails if you're invisible. Level 3. Reach. Traditional freelancing demands you slide into DMs, begging for attention like a stray animal. That dynamic poisons negotiation. But the algorithm can reverse the polarity. Use TikTok to document the raw mechanics of your work. Not flashy guru posturing, just an iPhone screen recording you restructuring a chaotic spreadsheet for a logistics client. A business owner scrolls at 2 a.m., sees exactly how their life gets easier, and they contact you. Now you're the buyer screening sellers. The relationship starts with them already trusting your hands. The final level destroys repeat clients and explodes referrals, automation or reliability. Talent gets you an opening handshake. Reliability gets you a direct deposit every month. Miss a deadline once because you forgot a revision in an overcrowded inbox, and the retainer evaporates. That feeling of psychological safety. You provide a stressed-out business owner. It's worth more than any technical editing trick you will ever learn. A video editor who delivers 24 hours early with 0 typos in the caption file will win over a creative genius who ghosted for 4 days. Reliability is the hidden multiplier that lifts you from a $3,000 month to a $10,000 month. Yet, a $10,000 month creates a new problem that liquid wealth alone cannot solve. Cash sitting in a checking account is a melting ice cube. Inflation chews 3 to 8% of its purchasing power annually while a student's attention is locked on exams. Your side hustle created a river of income. Now you must build a reservoir system with 4 distinct tiers of risk. This prevents the tragedy of a kid who stacked $40,000 working 80-hour weeks, felt invincible, then bet it all on a single hype-driven asset that cratered to 0 in 72 hours. Saw it happen. The scars are permanent. Tier 1. Cash, the unsexy base layer. A high-interest savings account yielding around 3% interest. Not a wealth-building tool. An emergency buffer with one sacred function: stop you from selling other investments at a catastrophic low during a market crash. When the S&P 500 drops 20% and your hands are shaking, this cash tank lets you pay rent and buy food without locking in those losses. Tier 2. Index funds. These are low-friction baskets holding slices of entire economies. The S&P 500 has averaged a 13.3 annual return over the last decade. Let that compound in your head. Every dollar you stuff into something like VTSX, which captures the total US stock market, or its UK equivalent VWRL, silently multiplies in the background. Emerging market exposure through VWO in the US or VFEM overseas adds a layer of high-growth volatility you shouldn't ignore. Now here's the cruel coffee math they don't teach. A daily $6 latte habit drains $180 a month. That same $180, deposited monthly into an S&P index fund averaging 10% a year over 30 years, turns into $394,000. Not a misprint. You're drinking a house deposit one cardboard cup at a time. Tier 3 introduces more texture. Individual stocks, purchasing fractional ownership in single companies like a particular software firm or a retailer you've analyzed, carries medium risk. The volatility increases, but so does the education. Reading a quarterly earnings report, passing a balance sheet, understanding cash flow versus debt. This literacy permanently upgrades your financial immune system. You'll take losses. Those losses will be tuition paid to reality. Manage position sizing so a single bankruptcy filing doesn't puncture your Tier 2 safety net. Tier 4, the territory of maximum chaos. Cryptocurrency. We limit focus here to Bitcoin and Ethereum, assets that have survived multiple cycles of 80% drawdowns and regulatory assault. Invest only what you can afford to light on fire and watch burn without altering your living standard. If an Ethereum allocation drops 50% overnight and you can't sleep, your position is too large. Scale it back until the nausea disappears. You now possess the quadrant map that 95% of hustlers never discover. Most will remain trapped in the physical jail of services or the material drain of local products, wondering why $10,000 feels impossible. You know the escape pod's online services with a ruthless focus on business outcomes, priced on value, multiplied by reach, sealed with unbreakable reliability. The only remaining variable is what you type into a search bar at midnight instead of watching another person summarize their morning routine.